So maybe that was Eric's fee.
Whatever.
You want,
Doesn't look good. This is not how it should be. But this is what we have. Take back our government, Bob Wechter gets $5,000. Make it better tomorrow. So, please take to heart, DC matters, yes, the state matters. But this is happening in our community. And it's been happening for a while. And they're not really interested in what we need. You know? Our schools are at risk, and the way our community is being built is not financially sustainable. We need to change it, and the best way to change it is to know who these people are, who is funding them, and to field candidates who are going to work for us. And vote for them, support them with your time, your effort, and your campaign contributions. And with that, I'll take questions and talk about this. Yes, the gentleman in the back. Yeah, you.
Oh, sorry.
What's your name?
I'm Peter Gemma. I'm probably
I've seen your name on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I know your name.
I'm probably the token Republican here, but Bob Wechter committed a felony against a Republican. Her name was Lourdes Ramirez.
Yes.
She is running again, and she's running against Al Mayo, and so keep that name in mind. The question I have is, Jim Gabbard didn't appear very many times on this.
Right.
And in my involvement in the celery fields fight, he gave some money, but nothing dramatic. Do you have any more information on him?
That is the only contribution I've seen. Oh, forgot to point out that a city commission candidate gave $4,000 to that same PAC, Martin High. That moment has passed, okay. So that's all I've seen. That doesn't mean that's all there is. I'm not gonna claim that. But for me, it's enough. You know, it's enough. The fact that he's on the Charter Review Board as a county official is just something we should know. You know, and now, it's my personal reading of the tea leaves that Caragiulo is being, you know, politically nudged aside because he didn't sing to the same, you know, march to their drum. Yes, I'm gonna.
No, I was just gonna say with Jim Gabbard, my recollection from the celery fields, you know, everything that was going on with that he gave individually to each.
Yes, I have not, I think it was $17,000.
And it was quite a considerable
Yeah,
amount.
this isn't, these aren't campaign contributions,
Right.
these are PAC
That's-
contributions. Yes, and that's another issue.
But that's not a lot of money when it all is all added up. That's what surprised me about Gabbard. He's very influential, but yet $17,000 is not a heck of a lot of money
Well,
when you divide it among.
$17,000 to campaigns, $10,000 to the PAC, that's almost $30,000. I mean,
In the larger scheme of things,
Yeah, but-
he seems to be a small player.
no, I don't think, well, okay, so if a county commission raises anywhere from 100 to 150,000, maybe two, if somebody can hand you a check for 10% of your war chest,
But he spread that 5 ways.
no, I'm talking about the PAC, you know,
Yeah, I'm not
You know what I
arguing, I'm
mean?
just
It's
saying that he surprised me by the amount of influence he has in the untraceable checks.
Mhm.
He doesn't give a whole lot of money compared to Baruch
I
and the
guess
others.
we have different definitions of a lot of
well,
money.
I mean,
A lot of money.
in comparison, in
Well,
comparison.
Yeah,
getting more
it's not nothing, so, yeah, it's, yeah.
Well, are you advocating that, what do they call it, when they're trying to change the way the voting is for the?
District.
Yeah, the district.
Oh, single-member districts?
Yeah, so that
Um,
you get-
Well, I think what we have is not working. You know, I'm not gonna stand here and tell you it's a cure-all, single-member districts, but what single-member districts will do, because here's the thing, in the city commission races, I live in the city of Sarasota, the city of Venice, money isn't the be-all, end-all. You know, we've had lushly funded candidates, like Mr. Hyde, who spent, you know, I'm not sure, maybe $80,000, and he lost. You know, and others spent far less. That's not true at the county level. So single-member districts will allow a candidate to, right now they're elected at large, and you have to cover the whole county, and it just takes a ton of, it's why you need a party, you know? It takes a ton of effort and time and money to effectively message all the voters in the county. But if you can knock that down to a district, it's a game changer.
They're more directly representing.
Right, there's accountability.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. Mike Moran is the District 3 County Commissioner. District, is it District 1? Sorry, I always get that wrong. Okay, Mike Moran is District 1. Mike Moran was on the Planning Commission that approved Carlos Baruch building on contaminated land. Mike Moran, which is his district, District 1. Mike Moran voted to approve the dump near the celery fields. Now, if there were single-member districts, he'd be done.
Mhm.
He would not do that, and he'd be done, you know? We don't have that right now. We don't have that kind of accountability, Shirley.
I think the other accountability on that is you wouldn't be focused on all 5 of them. You would be focused on your commissioner and making your commissioner accountable to his or her votes.
Well, it might improve engagement, voter engagement.
Right.
Yeah,
They would care more.
but I think at an issue like the celery fields, I mean, there are people all across the county who are really concerned about that. And yes, but it will definitely bring down the cost of campaigns for the efficacy of the campaign, because like I said, the cities, you have that accountability, it's smaller, and it will, I think, improve engagement, so. Hang on, I'm gonna ask Jim.
Yeah, I think most of us are impressed with this hour presentation, but how do you do this? How do you research this?
Yeah.
You're one person, and newspapers don't have this.
Yeah, that was
And
what-
how long does it take you to compile all this information?
So I think I have to backtrack. I say to myself, why do I care about this? I really do, why do I spend, because it takes a ton of time. And I've been working on it, I started working on it in 2016, picked it up, put it down, but it's kind of addictive though. Once you get into it, you're just like, oh my gosh, and then you go, he wrote himself a check. I consider it him writing a check for $140,000 to himself, He'll say, oh, I'm not really in charge. Well, looks to me like you are. So when you find these things out, it's just, it's such an eye-opener. And I ran as an independent thinking I had a shot. I was a total newbie. I was just concerned. And then I realized, give me a break. There's like no way, right? So you understand the dynamics. But there's 3 reasons I think this really feeds my passion. One is I am the granddaughter of Irish immigrants. And Irish people are politically aware. We care. And my grandfathers both left basically because they kind of had to. They were, to be a young man in the 1920s in Ireland, and if you're a Catholic, So I grew up with a very keen awareness of politics and that it mattered and that voting mattered. Number 1, I was a military spouse. Number 2, my ex-husband was in the service. So I moved my kids 9 times in 14 years to accommodate his service. I really couldn't pay attention locally. I just couldn't. We were moving every 2 to 3 years, sometimes 1 year. So I always promised myself that when we were settled, when I was settled, and my kids had graduated from high school, both of them, I would take the time. And I can tell you the sacrifices that military families make, and what my kids moving schools so many times, there's a price. And so you think you're sacrificing for something good, something honorable. I love my country. And then I saw this. This isn't worthy of those sacrifices. This is just cronyism. This is not what our founding fathers intended. It's disgusting. So that feeds my passion. And I did go to the University of Virginia. And I studied history there, and you go to a university founded by Jefferson, this stuff seeps in. You take it seriously. So those are the reasons, but it takes way too much time.
How do you connect the dots? How do you
All right,
go from
so
one
what I
pack to
do,
another pack?
You have to go, there's a website the Department of State has. And I was basically interested because I knew Eric Robinson was funding these PACs. So I started out just put his name in as the registered agents, and I saw what came up. And I'd read newspaper articles about what PACs were sending out mailers and what issues were being funded by different PACs. So you should see my hard drive is full of files. And so I started saving all this stuff, and then I started putting it together. And, you know, but it's been like a 2-year process, and I can still keep doing it. There's a lot.
I'd like
Yes.
to take it more on our level, okay?
Yeah.
We're not gonna go into all this.
Mhm.
Let's look at what your questions are right there. I
Yeah,
mean, many of us in this room want to be informed. We
Sure.
consider ourselves informed citizens.
yeah,
But we don't know how to be at that local level, how to find out more information
Yeah.
about these people who are running.
well, I'd say Shirley makes a great point about voting by mail. So you can get, I like the ceremony of voting on election day. I like getting up and I have a routine, but I also know what I'm gonna do. And I do this, so I would vote by mail, you know, get the ballot and take a look at the people, but your mailboxes are being
Find
stuffed.
Information about them.
Yeah, well, you can subscribe to my blog. You can read the newspapers. But you can also hang on, if you have Republican friends, you know, this is mainly a Democrat group, but the Republicans are getting their mailboxes stuffed. And so are you. Hang on to the flyer. Have a coffee meeting. The Department of State website, honestly, you can put in the name of the PAC and it pops up. And then you can see who's in there. But the biggest tip off for me is if your mailbox is being relentlessly stuffed by somebody, you know, one candidate or PACs that are advocating for one candidate, it's a pretty good bet that they're being funded by these guys. That's how they win, right? Talk to your neighbors. Talk to your neighbors, and you know, Democrats in Sarasota County haven't been fielding county commission candidates. Some people register as Republicans just for their primary so they can vote in the county commission race. But we have to get past party labels when it comes to local elections, I think. And if you're a Republican, I think you got to be willing to vote for a Democrat and vice versa. Because, and I will tell you, when Jennifer Cohen ran for the county commission, she got 45% of the vote, and it was the Tea Party Republicans who voted for this Democrat and gave her that much of an edge, because they know this. I talked to them. They know this, and they're upset about it. There's a lot of common ground that we can, and at local level, there's a lot of common ground that we can meet on.
For every one candidate that these people are supporting,
Mhm.
especially if you're looking at a Republican race
Yes.
in Sarasota County, there's another one they're not. Or
Right,
maybe
like
they're doing
Lourdes.
it. Maybe he's playing both sides against the middle, I don't know. But I know Joe Gruder says he cannot find out where the money came from that was
Yeah.
running against him. I mean, and, you know, he supposedly knows, but, I mean, this was just
He's
a
an
small
accountant.
thing. But when he's
Yeah.
talking, yeah, he's an accountant. When you go to the state level, it gets even worse.
Uh-huh.
But, you know, it is, I think I
I
brought
think
this
it's
to you
higher.
in 2016 over the Marsh race, in the Ziegler race, and we brought all this dark money to the
Mhm.
Women's Political Caucus and was saying, this is just wrong,
Yeah, it
you know,
is
that
just,
they're all doing all this.
yeah.
But it gets so complicated, but after he got on the school board, I'm like, you know, I can't be fighting him. But I asked him to stop and he won't.
Well,
He makes
that's,
a lot of money out
he
of it.
makes a lot of money doing it.
What is
Yeah.
the law?
Oh, here's it's thedetail.net, and if you sign up here, I will subscribe you, and, yeah, we'll just keep talking to people. Thank you.
I feel so lucky that you made time to come and speak to Invisible tonight. And I'm sorry I wasn't here at the beginning to welcome. I'm glad my team jumped in and did that. We had some technical difficulties. But Indivisible is a group that is looking to seek, to some extent, middle ground, if there's middle ground to be found. And we also have all kinds of needs for volunteers to help us with research, to help us with elections, midterm elections, and all kinds of things. We are favoring progressive candidates, particularly, but in local races, that sounds like good advice. We maybe need to look twice at some of the people that we might not have thought of and really start doing our research. So I encourage people to sign up. I'm certainly going to get on her mailing list and find out about the blog. And I thank you for the hours that you've spent. It's obvious that your passion is driving you to do this, and you have enlightened our group tonight, and I feel fortunate. And it was videoed, so.
I have to plug my radio show.
Yeah,
I forgot
okay.
to do that. I have a show on WSRQ. Jim is the station owner. It's 2 o'clock on Fridays, and it also runs again Sunday mornings. It's on WSLR, Thursday mornings at 9. But there's a podcast, so if you go to WSRQ Radio and you look for the detail, you'll see me, and you can just scroll through the shows and see what you might find interesting. So that's another way to stay informed. Tom, where are you going to put this video? We don't know.
We'll put it probably on the Citizens for Sarasota blog and on Facebook.
Okay, great. So if you'll let us know where it is, we'll make sure that people that aren't here tonight know the look. That would be wonderful. One more question, Krista?
Well, no, I just want to make a quick little comment, because I don't know how many people here are aware, and you probably are, that the 2 county commission seats that are open, that there are 2 Democrats running. Wesley Beggs is running in one district, and Ruta Gennari is running in the other. And Ruta had ran for District 72 along with Margaret
Yeah, she was a
Good.
good candidate.
Yeah, she's a great candidate. So, and she's running against Ziegler. So it should be interesting.
Well, we have a group of like 12 Southwest Florida Indivisible groups, and we are mounting a campaign to become more aware and to help our members become more aware of how elections work and really digging in. I mean, I think the election that just happened with One Mill in Manatee is tremendous, and then a number of us were involved in the thing with the Braid River, preserving that as a county park. So I think it does show that grassroots activism, if, as Cathy says, if we educate ourselves and start helping one another understand how to do that, and Cathy's gone a long way in getting us started and showing us the need. You know, we need to do that. We need to stand up, and we would love for you to stand up with us and become involved. So sign up and get on our mailing list. If you do that, you will get a newsletter about once every 10 days. It's got all the current things going on at state, and we'll start adding some more local things. After hearing from Cathy, we need to be looking at some of these. So please join us, and thank you so much for coming this evening. Thank you.